There's several parts to this because each time I see the hashtag used, I definitely agree each time I've seen the hashtag used, whether it was Trayvon Martin or Sandra Bland or just anybody else, what I've noticed is that it's mainly used when referred to cisgender heterosexual black men. And it leaves out anybody who's gay, anybody who's disabled, anybody who's trans, and all of that stuff. So with that, we don't really get to use the hashtag fully.
Yeah.
It matters to me because I live in that. I live in that minority environment. I live in a very impressive environment, and even worse, I hurt because my brother's hurt. And so I see that, and I know how unfair it is. And even worse, they're treated worse than I am. And just seeing that hurts me because there's so much we can do. Even just knowing is a big step. But we have to take it into our own matters. It's important for us to take action because that's the only way we're going to bring about change.
My brother, we have been victims of a lot of hate crimes growing up, especially being in a private school setting when we were one of the only African American children in our classes. And for living in the South and being in these schools, a lot of the other students were not aware of the black community. They didn't really know what was right or wrong for us. They didn't know how to approach us. So the best thing they could do was intimidate us and, mess with us and, leave a lot of hateful messages and vandalize our property. Also, I would come home every day beat up for like 4 years until I realized what was actually happening. But a lot of that does go on.
I myself am I am mixed race, but easily passed for white. That's never been an issue personally for me, but has been for many within my family. I'm part Hispanic. My grandmother is completely Hispanic, but just tries to go by as white. She was born Norma Martinez, and she goes by Jamie Humphreys. That sort of thing. Never taught her children Spanish because she didn't want them to be Spanish. And, yeah.
It's my home, it's my brothers and sisters, and in-betweens. I think it's problematic. I'm very critical of it. I think there's a lot of exclusion that needs to be worked on, and I think it's not as marginalized as it was, although there's still work to be done.
I'm pansexual, meaning that my sexual attraction to men and women and everyone who's in between that is just a broad spectrum. So that's my relation to the LGBTQ.
Who are the producers of culture in this country? We are. And when I say we, I mean black people. And when I say black, I mean that in the expanded form, black, trans, queer, gender non-conforming. We are the producers of everything that is beautiful and magical in this country.
Race and gender identity have affected my life in a positive way, I would say like for the most part, I've never faced any backlash, not too much backlash about who I am or how I identify. And I've been fortunate enough that like there are always extreme cases. Like I've been fortunate enough where like there might have been 1 or 2 moments, but it was nothing that like affected me terribly. The time that immediately rings back to me is I was in my junior year of high school, and my friends and I went to Forever 21 at a mall in Queens, and just shopping with my friends, we're walking around, and I noticed the security guard watching me when we first walked into the store. Now, we went to like 3 different sections on the first level of the store and then the second level. And by the time we got to the second level and the security guard was no longer at the door and on the second level, still watching my friends and I, that's when I sort of started to feel uncomfortable, and I just sort of started to question, especially in New York, where there are tons of people of tons of ethnicities, tons of like backgrounds that shop at that mall all the time, why me and my friends were a like point of danger, like controversy, like why we would be profiled in the store as opposed to anybody else of the same race or different, like